Hey, entrepreneurs, it's your podcast mogul Phil Better here. I am excited for this episode as I know you are. Before we jump into this episode, I'm going to ask you if you are also a podcaster and you're looking to grow your podcast or monetize your podcast, make sure you stay till the end of the episode. I have a special deal for you, or a special offer, if you will. But ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's jump into the episode.
Welcome to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. Join the podcast mogul Phil Better as he interviews successful entrepreneurs that make their living in the digital world. Now, let's join your host, Phil Better, and his special guest today on Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast.
Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm, of course, your host with the most, Phil Better, and I'm excited about our guest today. They help businesses generate leads, add clients, and increase revenue using his 10 social media marketing secrets. He does this by leveraging over 2 decades of television and film experience, creating content that sets you as the expert in your field and separates you from your competitors. He is the founder, CEO, and, all-around amazing guy. Please welcome our guest, Armando Leduc, the CEO of Leduc Entertainment. Armando, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me, man. Can you just follow me around?
Oh,
introduce me at parties and stuff.
If you want, it's a small fee, about $1,000 an intro.
That's not bad.
I like to think of myself as the hype guy for everybody. Everybody wants a hype guy. I want to be that hype guy for my guests and that. So yeah, we can talk afterwards about paying me to be your personal hype guy. Done. But Armando, thank you so much for being here.
I'm glad to be here, man. This is I love the intro, by the way.
Thank you. I try. I pay big bucks for it, over on Fiverr for it. So they do a great job there. So, hey, some of the secrets I reveal on my show. But Armando, I would love for you just to give us maybe a quick 30-second intro about who you are and what do you do.
My name is Armando Leduc. I'm CEO of Leduc Entertainment, and I help companies or business owners experience their stories on social media and just overall marketing. I help them tell their stories so that they can create some freedom in their life and really just try and be their authentic selves. So helping them on that journey to discover who they are and be okay with it.
I love that. And how did you get into it? Why did you decide? Because you had the experience in television and film, 20 years. What made it so that you wanted to jump into the entrepreneurial world?
I've always been an entrepreneur. I started my first business. I started was a swing Latin and ballroom studio, and I taught. We were teaching swing Latin and ballroom in Augusta, Georgia. Learned from a mentor. Opened up my own studio, and that was at age 20. So I had, already, and then I was doing sales jobs. So I was always in the entrepreneurial mindset. I didn't just like to do one thing. Mm-hmm. And so in 98, I auditioned for the school play. It was Grease. I got the lead, started singing, loved it, started acting, loved it. Then I started doing a bunch of musical theater, community theater stuff. And then I started auditioning for films, and I moved to New Orleans to pursue my acting career in film. And so since 2005, done, over 60 television and film projects. Wow. From, Prison Break to Queen of the South to Green Lantern, and so I was just on set all the time, started watching the DPs and the directors and was paying attention and to the wording and why did they light something the way they lit it and why is location so important and why are these, how are they breaking down the scripts and what are the rehearsals like? And so I started, just kind of learning from the masters, and I was like, man, I want to start doing my own projects. So I started, producing my own films. And I was like, man, I always had, like I said, I always had that entrepreneurial mindset. So I was like, man, how can we take this concept from Hollywood, production and what all goes into like the development of a movie, and bring it to a micro level and create content sort of on a micro level with that same sort of principle. And that's how I rebrand to Leduc Entertainment. And yeah, it's just been great.
I love it. I love it because you were always learning. You're like, okay, how do we light something? Like entrepreneurs don't know how to light their video for this, and you're like, I'm on stage with people who have been being paid millions of dollars to do this. I'm
Yeah.
going to learn from them, and then I'm going to disseminate the information. My
Uh,
God, you were in masterclass every single time you were on stage or on set. I mean,
yeah, it was. I mean, and the cool thing is that you can ask questions, right? Why, why are you lighting it this way? What is the 3-point lighting? How are you creating this mood, right? And it's like, oh, okay, this is how you're doing this is how you're doing that. And they were super open and wanted to educate you. So the more you ask questions, especially from an actor, right? Like
yeah.
asking questions, right? Actors are like, I'm going to my honey wagon, call me when you need me, and I'm just so upset, just absorbing the whole thing. So
In essence, the director's favorite type of actor, wanting to know everything so that you can pitch in whenever any time is needed, right?
eh, eh. No, the directors definitely don't like the actors asking too many questions and giving their 2 cents. They trust that the actors are going to bring something to the table that they hadn't thought of. But it also depends on the director, right? Like some directors are like, this is how we need to do it, exactly this way, don't veer off. And then some directors are like, what do you want to do, how do you want to play it? So and I always enjoyed working with directors that are like that are more like open and
Into collaboration.
let you do your own thing.
Now, obviously, you're still. I'm going to be generally honest. I did take a look at your IMDb, and it's very impressive.
Oh,
Um,
thanks.
I was like, oh my God, I didn't know you were in that film. And now I want to go back and watch it because it is one of my favorite films. And I love just jumping out and like watching and saying, oh, I know this person. I've talked to this person. It's so rewarding, I find, because you get a better connection to the film, I find, when you know
Yeah.
someone nearly personal in a film. So I'm looking forward to watching, I think it wasn't Bad Cop. It was
Bad Lieutenant.
there we go. Bad Lieutenant. Yeah. Want to rewatch that and try and catch you in it. And definitely, if I do, I'm going to put it on social media and tag you.
Oh, you'll see me. I'm all over it, man.
Awesome.
There's no, yeah. I'll tell you a quick fun story about that. So the director, Werner Herzog, German guy, and I grew up in Germany. And so I came in, and the clothes that I'm wearing in the movie are my clothes. Like I was the one that like dressed myself, and I came in with a leather jacket, black tank top, beanie, sunglasses, leather pants, and when I got the role, director was like, whatever you wore at the audition, can you please wear that in the movie? So it was my wardrobe.
No, oh, that's amazing. That's a nice feather on your cap, or in your beanie, as it is. But let's more focus on some of your wins and successes in the entrepreneurial world. Since you've been doing it for quite time, you did a brick and mortar with your own school, to where you're producing your own you're producing your own films and work, and now you're helping other entrepreneurs do the same thing, business owners generate the leads that they look. Is there like a moment in your career that just solidifies why you became an entrepreneur? Like you're like, this memory, this moment, this win, whatever it may be, is why I do what I do?
I was at a friend of mine who I went to high school with. We were in the same neighborhood, grew up together, shenanigans, during our formidable years. He started a company. He started a personal injury firm called Bader Scott, and it's huge in Atlanta. I mean, it's $50 million law firm. And he started during COVID. He started a company called 8 Figure Firm, where he became a consultant to other attorneys on how to scale their businesses to 8 figures. And so he hired me to come out. This was actually the start of my like volume of content journey for businesses. Cause I came out and he's like, I need like as much content as you can produce. Right. And so it was like 20 to 50 pieces of content a month. And so, so we were learning that, and he was like, okay, now I want you to help so-and-so, and I want you to help so-and-so and help so-and-so. And so I started helping all of these other attorneys, sort of scale their businesses with like content marketing and stuff. And I saw these people going from like $700,000 a year in revenue to like 2.4 million in 6 months, like in 6 months. And I was like, I can't take credit for all of it. Right. Like Lewis was the consultant and they implemented all the strategies, but I was involved in that process, and he just bought, he bought himself a Lamborghini and bought himself a lake house, and we're over there shooting, content on his lake house and on his boat. And I was like, I hope you're enjoying this, stuff that helped you build, like, because we still do content. Like we do content for him on a monthly basis, for like 3 years, right? Like he's our longest standing client, but like I saw how he single-handedly, like not just grew his, law firm and his consulting business, but how he like just transformed all of these attorneys' lives that they're now like 8-figure firms. And, and we had a hand in it, you know what I mean? And it's just like, okay, cool. I like that. Like, it's not something that is ethereal and a theory, it's like, it was actual, like in front of my own eyes, seeing that these people are like growing like crazy. And so that was a big win for us as a company. Cause I can't say that it was my win, cause if it wasn't for my team, I wouldn't be able to do what I do. So, it's definitely a team effort. When I look at my business now, I don't think of it as my business. I think of it as like me and my team's business, because we all grew it together. So that's one of the biggest wins.
I like that. I like that shift from it's my business, because when you're a solopreneur, when you're one person, it is your business, it's your baby. And then when you start hiring people, and if you continue thinking of it as yours, you're going to push those new hires out because they don't feel connected. But you saying like it's a team effort, because like you said, you couldn't take all the credit. You couldn't do it for 18 other lawyers to help them create that content. You'd be dead. So having a team and you go, okay, I trust you guys know what you're doing. I'm going to go do what I know what I'm doing. We're going to just build and build. And you impacted not only your employees, but these other lawyers and extensively their clients and their families. Like it's a true trickle down economics, if you will.
Yeah. I mean, we have the hand, part of my goals is to impact, millions of people's lives. And if I sit back and think about how many people I've been able to help, and then them being able to help those other people, like, we're definitely at millions of people that we've helped in some capacity. You know what I mean? So
what is it like? What is it like when a client comes to you and they're just like, I need content? Like, what's the first kind of step that you take with them?
First step is vision, mission, and core values. Have you ever read the book EOS, the Traction book?
I have not, but it is now on my list of books to read.
Great. It's a fantastic book. It talks about like, it's the entrepreneurial operating system. And it all starts with like your VTO, right? Your vision, mission, and core values, and what exactly are you doing and why are you doing it, right? Because once we start there, then everything else kind of falls into place. Simon Sinek wrote a book on Start With Why, which is also a good book. But like, that's where it all starts. And if you can get everybody on board with what your vision is, then that becomes your story, right? And that's where we start in terms of like, what's the development? How are we developing the story? Who are we developing it for? Who are you helping? What's your target audience, right? And is this movie a rom-com, or is it a horror movie, or is it, like what's the theme of who you are? Are you a funny business? Are you more, straight-laced? And that's totally cool. Like however you want to be presented, that's what we're going to sort of lean into, right? So all of that stuff happens in the development phase where we're figuring out vision, mission, core value, audience, and that's where we sort of start. And then once we figure that out, then we can go into the writing of the topics and the the scripts and all of that. Like, what exactly are we going to shoot so that when we shoot and we put out content, it resonates with the people you're trying to reach, right? Because if you have a good sense of humor, then put it out there, right? If you're a sports person, put it out there. If you like travel, put it out there, right? Like, you're not just an attorney, right? Like, what else is there about you that we want to talk about, right? And we start to call those your content pillars, right? So so it's all like, you know, who you are, what is it, how you help, right? And then the other things about you that you want to kind of put out story wise.
Oh, I like that. I like that. And I love the suggestion of the EOS, because it is like, looking back, I'm like, I'm going to definitely read that, because everybody needs an operating system. Like, the computer I'm using has an operating system. The phone that I have has one. It just updated recently too, on top of it, you know, as we're recording. So entrepreneurs need an operating system. It's not the first time I've heard that you need a process, an operating system, a guide. So it's good to constantly be reminded, like, hey, you need that straight lace, at least to start, and then you can grow from it. When did you figure out your operating system? Like, when did you figure out your path? And you're like, this is what works for me.
I mean, when I got mentorship, you know, so Lewis, who started that business, he also was like, Armando, you got a $1 million business, you just don't know how to get there. And I was like, all right. And so he was like, it'll be $2,500 a month to mentor with me. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah. But he was like, when you make the decision and you come out of pocket and you really like commit and invest in it, then you're going to do something about it. So like, when I tell you to do the things that I need you to do to implement the strategy so that you can grow, you're actually going to do it because you have stake in the game. I can give you this information for free, but you're not going to, there won't be any sense of urgency behind it.
Yeah. There's no fire. There's no fire.
Yeah. So when you're spending $2,500 a month, which is more than you were paying for your home, you know, you're going to implement the strategies. And here's the thing, like, not a lot of people have the courage to step out of their comfort zone like that. But it's when you step out of that comfort zone, you're going to figure out things about yourself, and you're really going to grow to that level, right? Like, you can't grow out of that level unless you get uncomfortable and like really uncomfortable.
Yeah. It's spending $2,500 a month of money that you're like, well, this is 3 months worth of rent. Now I'm down to only next month, and you that urgency is there, and you kick yourself in the butt to keep it going. You know, you find the old adage, lie, cheat, and steal your way to fame. Maybe not so much, but you figure out a way. You're hustling in the truest sense of the word.
Look, I saw that he had a track record. It wasn't like I was putting my trust in somebody that I hadn't already seen that he was doing it for other people. So it was easy for me to go, okay, yeah, I see. And then it's so funny how predictable it is. It really is. It truly is. Because one of the things he says is, you know, the speed of growth in your business is tied to the speed of implementation. If you implement fast, you'll grow fast. Now, are you doing the right things? Like, you got to listen to the right people, because if you implement the wrong things fast, you're not going to go anywhere. I mean, you can tank your business very quickly, you know? So, you know, making sure that you have the right mentor will help you get to where you want to go, you know, so you just got to trust it.
I love it. I do want to touch on, you do have 10 secrets to social media growth and marketing for business owners. I want to touch on one of them. One that you think may be underserved currently in the space that marketing content creators are all talking about. What is one of your 10 secrets that you want to share with us?
In the content, like the creation process, like in the writer's room, as you would, and I treat that development or the topic creation and the writing of the content just like they do like a writing room in for a sitcom, right? You get your writing room together, you get your brainstorming, you know. And so what we do is, like, we have every month we sort of kind of go through the analytics of what has been working, what's the through line through all of the videos that we create, because I think we're editing close to 500 videos a month right now. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. So we go, okay, and we'll talk to the social media manager and we'll go, okay, what are the highest viewed videos, right? Of all of our clients. And we go, okay, these are pretty consistently high views, right? And so we're like, okay, well, why aren't we doing more of those? And ones that do really well are like your top fives. So I know every city has like their alternative newspaper that comes up with like, the top five or the top list, the best of list, like the best place to get a burger, best place to get a pizza,
Best bartender, best bar, best waiter, best comedian. Yeah.
People love it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So what we do is for each business that we do content for, we always have at least 3 or 4 top 5 lists for their neighborhood. Right. So like if we're in Fort Lauderdale right now and I'm shooting content for one of my attorneys here, he has a property and casualty firm here in Fort Lauderdale called Windy Law. And so we'll have him do top 5 places to get a burger, top 5 places to get seafood, top 5 places to watch live music, and then when we put it out there, we tag those businesses, they re-tag us, they follow us, they share our stuff. And so now we're engaging. So if you guys are looking for an easy way to, connect with your neighbors in your city and like just increase your engagement and increase like what people are saying, because then people start to go, dude, are you really serious? You're saying that this is like the best restaurant? That's not the best restaurant, man. You got to try blah blah blah. And so it starts to like multiply.
It's the controversy factor that always works. The best way to get engagement is put a wrong opinion online.
There you go.
Or just put an opinion online, then it's out the way. Or just say something unfactually true, and people will correct you, and you'll have thousands of comments in a moment. I think that's great. I love the idea of a top 10 or top 5 list for businesses in the area. And not only that, you can work with your fellow business owners, because I know there's a lot of merchants associations that have connections, and you go, hey, let's do a top 5 list. We all come together, decide who has the best burger, or we rank our burgers or whatever it is, and you're all helping together grow, and everybody wins in that case.
Yep. So that's a quick easy little hack for you if you're out there trying to create content and you want to connect with possible referral partners.
That's even bigger. It's a win-win on every plate. I can't believe no one has. I'm glad you said this, because like I asked you, like, this is not something people talk about, and this is just genius. Easy way of doing it, because you can just go to any other website that's already been voted. If there's a voting, you just go and you talk about that. My God, look at this. Crazy. Or
people that I'll tell you, there's so funny. Her name is Mackenzie Barman. Do you follow her on Instagram?
I don't. I'm in Canada, so I follow a lot of Canadian content creators.
Got it. Yeah. So Mackenzie Barman, if you check her out on Instagram, she is hilarious. I've been wanting to get her on my show for a while, right? She got a really big following, and I follow her. I think she's funny. I put on there, the top 5 people you need to be following on Instagram, and she commented. She was like, "Oh my God, I'm so honored. Thank you so much." And then we started a conversation, and now I'm going to have her on my show. And, so it just starts that. It just really goodwill, another book you should read called The Go-Giver. Have you read it?
No, but I've heard of it. I've heard of it and how amazing it is. And it's definitely
really good. When you think about giving first, it makes
changes everything
super fast.
Mm-hmm. Because it plays into that human need of reciprocation.
Yeah.
When you give something, people feel already indebted. They have to give you that, and it falls into Robert Greene's 48 Laws of Power and all this human psychology. And I think that's genius. I really love the idea. Like, I was thinking restaurants for podcasts, but it's also like, hey, these are my top 5 entrepreneur podcasts or top 5 episodes. And oh my God, like the abundance of material.
It's endless. It's endless.
Yeah. It is a constant endless. I love listicles now. I used to hate them, but now I'm like, oh my God, they're genius. 1,000 ideas are popping off in my head. But I do want to know, Armando, I want to jump into the future, 5 years. snap my finger, 5 years. We're 5 years now. You're obviously probably 8-9 figure entrepreneur, maybe even a 10-figure entrepreneur. Who knows? But what is it that? Where do you want to be, Armando? Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Pretty much doing the same thing that I'm doing now, just at a different, in a different space. I went to this conference called the Visionary Summit a couple of months ago. And I got to hear this doctor, Dr. Steve Young, amazing guy. And he was talking about, he did an exercise. He said, I want you guys to think about yourself on the last day that you're alive. Think about yourself on the last day of your life. And then I want you to write from that person's perspective to you right now. And I want you to use your non-dominant hand, and I want you to write down what you would tell yourself. Don't judge it, just start writing, right? And I wrote down, I have it already. I still have it written, but like, it was like, you don't have to try anymore. You already have everything that you need, right? So like, stop trying, right? And just start living, right? And it's like, damn, cool. You know what I mean? It's like you're no longer trying, right? It's like you're living in this game instead of like the gap, right? Too many people are living according to the ideal, right? They're living to that next step, right? And that's why people that are always like, they're at 7 figures, they're going to get to 8 figures. At 8 figures, they're going to get to 9 figures. And then that's all they're focused on, right? Instead of, where am I coming from? What are the gains that I've had? And I'm always living in the gain, not to say that you don't stay driven, but like you're basing yourself on where you have been and not necessarily on where you want to go, right? And when you stop judging yourself on those two extremes, and there's really good books called The Gap and the Gain, written by Dan Sullivan, and he talks about that. He's like, stop living in the future, and start being grateful for what you have and how far you've come, and let that be the barometer. And so now I just live my life in this way of trying to live by decreasing and not by amassing, right? So I'm constantly purging, according to another book I read, the Magic of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. Well, she does it for like material things,
yeah,
right? But I'm doing it for my digital life, right? Like, how am I purging my digital life and like consolidating, marrying, and then letting things go? And so on a consistent basis, I'm trying to purge, and sort of live in harmony of what I have going on today, and like the journey, like being present here, right, with you right now. Like, this is where I'm at. This is all I have. This right now is all I have. So am I liking this? Am I enjoying it? And so I'm like, yeah, I love it. So this is what I'm going to be doing for forever. You know what I mean? Because I love it.
Oh my God, I love that. More books. I can't wait to get the transcript of this, just to copy all the books and just put them in my Audible just to listen to them, because I know these books great. Are going to be paying dividends. And obviously, if you're listening, the show notes will have links to Amazon, so that you can pick up these books and send a few dollars my way through Amazon. But Armando, we are coming near the end, which I hate, because I want to have you back on, because I want to dive deeper into all the strategies that you have and all your knowledge that you have amassed, because I think you're like someone who probably will be able to be a mentor for a lot. However, I'm going to ask you to be a mentor to yourself. I'm going to snap my fingers. I have young Armando here. He's 10 years old, bright, full of hair. I don't know if you had hair at 10, but I'm going to assume you did.
I did.
Thank God. What single piece of advice do you have for 10-year-old Armando?
That I'm normal. Growing up, I was sort of considered the black sheep of the family because I thought different. And it was, I only recently experienced validation for who I am based on another book called Driven. And it's based on the individuals that are out there that are like super driven individuals that didn't do well in high school, that were like always considered, disruptive and didn't, just weren't in the school model, right? And it was just like always like, Armando, why do you always have to do things the way you do them? Like, can't you be more like your sister? Can't you be more like this person? And it's like, after reading that book, I was like, man, I was normal the whole time. It was just everybody else was trying to make me feel like I was not, you know what I mean? Because I wasn't thinking the way they did, and I wasn't thinking, and them thinking the way they thought is okay. They're normal too, but I was made to feel abnormal. You know what I mean? And so if I could go back and just be like, hey man, keep doing what you're doing. You're normal. It's okay. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with you.
I love it. No, that's amazing advice, and it's true. Like, speaking with so many different visionaries and entrepreneurs like yourself, we're technically outcasts. Because we're not thinking the same. We see a problem, we have to solve it, instead of just saying, well, that's the problem, we have to live with it and just continue on. No, I want to solve that problem. And we're always thinking differently than everybody else, mainstream society. Without us, probably progress wouldn't be as expedient as it is today. Armando, I can't thank you enough. I'm going to jump off stage to thank you again. I'm going to let my audience know where they can connect with you, how they can support you, how they can work with you if they're looking for someone to handle all their content marketing like you do. So the floor, sir, is yours.
Cool. Armando Leduc. You can Google me. I'm all over the place, but leducentertainment.com. You can find me. You can also find me as a social marketing king. I just got branded that by the guy that wrapped my truck on accident. So I'm the social marketing king as well. So you can find me there, and I'm super responsive. I have my team. So if you need us, we will be there.
Awesome. Armando, again, I can't thank you enough for coming on, sharing your wisdom, and just being an amazing guest on my podcast. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, man. This is great. You're great at this. You're good at this.
Thank you. 10 years. 10 years. I think I would.
Has it been 10?
For this podcast, it's 3 next month.
Wow.
Podcasting in general, 10 years. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Congrats.
Thank you.
You're really good at this. Good for you.
I try. Every day is every episode. I'm constantly worried that I'm going to flub up and make it a horrible episode, but by the end of it, I always get praise. So I think I'm doing somewhat good. So thank you very much for that praise.
Yeah, man. Thank you. It's great.
I can't thank Armando enough, and to my audience for listening. Check out the show notes down below to connect with Armando. Check out the books he suggested, because if it's helped him, you know it's going to help you. And always remember to invest in yourself. Hey, digital entrepreneurs, thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Now, if you're looking to take your podcast to the next level, like most of these entrepreneurs have taken their business to the next level, to scale it, if you will, make sure you check out my brand new newsletter. Links are down below. It is called the Monetization Mogul Syndicate newsletter, or it could be Feel Better Stories of Monetization Moguls, or Making Moguls is what I do. So make sure you go ahead and check that out. But I want to thank you very much for listening. And as always, remember to invest in yourself.